Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And I'm going to let you know today that if you have 4,000 bonds in World of Tanks, the absolute utter most way you can spend them is to get this long, strong, majestic tank. It is the TOG. This month in March, Wargaming put this thing inside the bond store so you can be able to get your hands on it for that 4,000 bond price tag. Now, if you want the hot TOG style as well, that's going to cost you an additional 450. Although, considering how I don't know what's going on with this sausage, it's about as wonky as it gets. You might want to skip out on the hot TOG style. Although, interestingly, with the hot TOG style, only something I just recently noticed, and that is, for some reason, the shadowing on the TOG glows different depending on how the UI is. Interesting. Just wargaming things. Anyway, the TOG. What is good about this tank? Hit points. I have the hit points pretty much of a tier 9 heavy right now, but I'm down at tier 6 and I have preferential matchmaking. The other thing that's good about the TOG is the gun. I have a Black Prince gun at tier 6 with preferential matchmaking, so I never have to meet vehicles that are higher than tier 8. So your gun will always work, and you always feel like you have a chance to be able to shoot back against your opponents. And if the standard rounds with 171mm of AP isn't enough for you, you can load gold and have 239mm of pen, meaning that, yeah, those tier 8 heavies, there's no problem for the TOG to be able to go through them. I was going to say if it could meet them, because it can't. You can't meet anything higher than tier 7. Get with the program, QuickyBabs. That's how good the TOG is. Still in my mind, it's good enough to be able to fight those tier 8s. I mean, it's got the same bloomin' hit points, but no, it doesn't have to. The worst matchup that you can get for the TOG is this one with tier 7 vehicles. Of course, now with the prevalence of +2 matchmaking getting slimmer and slimmer, TOG might have to deal with more of those pesky tier 7 and tier 6 only matchups possibly in the future. But you know what? TOG remains. Now, one of the most important things that you can do with the TOG is, in my opinion, to set it up correctly. You notice I might have a little bit of a sweat on my TOG, right? It's just because for me it's just such a majestic tank. And it's one of the slowest vehicles in the game. It only goes at 14 kilometers an hour forwards and 7 backwards. This means that there's the two most important things you can get on the TOG are, number one, you must have engineering on your driver to improve your top speed by 1 and backward speed by 1. And also, you must have a turbo. And the better the turbo you can get, the better the TOG will be. You'll see that I sweat fully and I have a bond turbo on my TOG, meaning that my new top speed limit is like 20 or actually 21 if you also include engineering. However, if you can get a bounty turbo on the TOG, it will still be excellent. A regular turbo, you know, each time that you can get that 1 kilometer an hour faster forwards, you're improving your top speed by like, gosh, it's pretty scary. You're improving your top speed by like 6 or 7%, considering the top speed is 14. And the crazy thing about this tank is that after you've managed to get the speed up, it's no longer this kind of like ultra meme of just being this big XP pinata that goes round. And getting around the corner, just trading hit points. If you trade hit points in the TOG, you can get even amount of hit point trading, you will do well. If you can average 1,800 damage in the TOG, that is impressive stuff. The other thing that's just hilarious about this vehicle is when you try and reverse side scrape with this tank. Because of the front-mounted turret and how long the vehicle is, if you reverse side scrape like this and you were to turn the turret around and face this way, your opponents can't actually go through your side armor. They'll be able to hit this butt plate here if they manage to catch it, and of course they'll be able to go through this turret because the turret is absolutely awful. But a lot of people just don't shoot turrets. It's just not programmed into them, and you can actually bait people into making mistakes in that way. Now, look. If you're new to World of Tanks, and you don't have a tier 8 premium, look, don't get this thing first, okay? Get yourself a tier 8 premium from the bond store. You could go get yourself a guard, you could get yourself a defender, you could get yourself the great 122 TM. However, you know, if you've got a premium tank, you've got a bunch of them, honestly, this might be the most fun that you could possibly have if you're a little bit weird and anything like me. And just having just a meme tank and then actually turning your opponents into a bit of a meme can be one of the most satisfying things that you can do in World of Tanks. Now, in addition to the turbo on this vehicle, you've got to use a durability device, right? The main strength of the TOG is its hit points. So if you don't use a durability device on this vehicle, you're practically trolling. If you think about it, this vehicle with its base hit points of 1,560 is kind of like a tier 6 tank plus at least 20%. And so your durability device is getting buffed by an additional 20%. And also keeping this thing's tracks on so you can keep moving forwards, that is of critical importance. And then the only real option you have is what kind of a piece of equipment you use on top of those two modules. Now for me, it's going to be the vents because I want to have a little bit of view range, I want to have a little bit of aim time, I want to have a little bit of accuracy. But for a lot of people, it's going to be the gun rammer. And so you just focus on what you want to do with your TOG. Do you want to be a little bit more consistent and have that traverse speed, view range, etc., etc., or do you want to have that raw rate of fire? And for a lot of people, the rate of fire will be better. For me, I just want to have a bit more of an all-rounded TOG than having a TOG that's just better for that all-in situation. And just because you're a big, lumbering, stupid tank doesn't mean that you can't be a little bit intelligent. Unfortunately for this 88, their gun is on an awkward side of this vehicle. And I'm going to be able to just pump them, and I'm going to use that turbo to control, and we're just going to keep rolling this 80 back around the corner with our improved mobility. And are we going to get the whole of a tier 6 TD for only one shot into me? Oh baby, that's just a feast. And we just completely changed the chances of this game. Luckily we only take one shot from an arty there. So I'm pounding down this slope, although I'm not sure you could call kind of like 18 to 21 kilometers an hour really pounding down a slope. But I wanted to pretend to the enemy team that I was going after the T-34-85M, but I'm expecting the M10 to come after me. But, you know what, I have a little bit of a look around and I think, probably going over there, I'm still could get flanked by the T-34-85M, or alternatively, the artillery might be going after me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to flank round, try and maybe get to this location here on the map, and then I'll be arty safe, and maybe also be able to catch the T-34-85M, or even catch any sneaky artillery, like lost elfin craft on the enemy team. And the last thing that you want to do is get caught by sneaky artillery when you are playing in Le TOG. So far this game, you'll see that my armor hasn't managed to block anything, but my hit points are still enough. We still got 1,000 hit points left, even though we've lost 800 hit points, and that has allowed us to do 2,300 damage. Again, the TOG, it's just all about just trying to find one single tank and trading your hit points in that one single tank as intelligently as you can. That 88 down here, that was about as good of a trade as you will ever get for a TOG, i.e. catching an even more cumbersome vehicle and managing to outperform them by shooting into their weak point. Quite often the TOG is really simple though. You just have to manage to trade your hit points shot for shot, and your DPM, it's not bad, 1,800, and your hit points are so strong that it's about trying to make sure you're just trading evenly. And then try and work with your allies, think about positioning, and sometimes just pray. Sometimes just pray, because it's not every day that you find yourself in a 1 versus 4 with a TOG, especially against 2 artillery and a rather dangerous T-34-85M that isn't a one-shot, but today is that day. So the TOG, in these kind of scenarios, your hand is kind of forced. You just have to try and get them to come to you. You can't really like drive out in the open. You see me actually pinging the map there, and the reason why I'm pinging the map is, do you see I went to 51 meters? I want him to proxy spot me only when they commit around the corner, but I still want to be close enough so that once they come around the corner, if they start reversing, I'm able to chase them down and be able to get more than one shot in. Back in the day, most tanks could be able to reverse faster than the TOG could go forwards. However, now, with the turbo and the engineer that you'll have on your driver, you can actually go faster forwards than a lot of TOGs can go backwards, and it makes a tremendous difference on the TOG. Look at that, 21 kilometers an hour because of that Bond turbo. If you got one, it's the perfect tank, and oh my word, this T-34-85M, they are in a very awkward position now. We're going to get 1 in, we're going to get 2 in. The T-34-85M is just all sorts of confused. The artillery misses us, and we managed to finish them off. Okay, so with an artillery reloading, I'm not going to be able to handle the cap circle. The M10 RBFM gets up there. We're going to put one shot in, and are they going to poke up again against me? Please poke, please poke. Oh, come on, no. But I'm quite happy that I didn't try and go up and around and go into that window. A, because it would have taken me all of the time necessary, but B, also because this rock would have just prevented. If the artillery sits there, which most people are going to sit there, they are going to be protected from the rock. So at this kind of situation, it's just about gritting your teeth, going forwards, and not giving a darn as you go into danger. Your hand is forced. It's not a sneaky tank. You don't have that much flexibility with what you can do, so just get forwards and go after it. Hello, Hummel. We're going to load an HE shell here, put one right through the side to make them now a one-shot for my HE. Looking for the extra shell, changing to the APCR rounds on this vehicle to hopefully be able to catch this M10. And again, I got to get forwards. The longer I stay here, the more that the M41 HMRC is going to be able to come after me. However, I'm going to intuition switch here to HE, and then I'm going to use another secret weapon that the TOG has, and that is that it's so long that you can actually wedge yourself up and use your 10 degrees of gun depression. And artillery, you did not expect that, did you? And I've never used that position before, that's for sure. Neither has the artillery. And oh, baby, let's go. Unbelievable. As we managed to catch both of those fools. And oh wow, even the artillery below me. I love it, I love it. Unless he pens me, I should be good. He fires one. You know what? I should be able to take the hit. And that's where your hit points come into play. 3,575 damage for the TOG and 5 kills. This would have been a decent game for a tier 8, let alone a tier 6. Double, just under double our hit points here for the TOG, and hopefully this shows you why this majestic beast can actually make a meme out of its opponents. I probably should have said made a meal, not make that a meal out of their opponents. Yeah, probably. Although kind of like make a meal out of it is usually when you're not doing something very well. Hot TOG, 4,000 bonds. Honestly, great deal. This thing also platoons very well. It's a lot of fun to play in a platoon. So if you've got some friends who just want to, again, slap a turbo, slap a durability, and then either take vents or a gun rammer, whatever you want to, whatever flavor you want to set your TOG up. If you're anything like me and Jingles, who would happily go and spend whatever it was, the 10-15 pound price tag on it, 4,000 bonds for a TOG and the amount of fun that it brings is an absolute bargain. So Ace Tanker here for the Mighty TOG for that 1,572 base experience. We get a Pascucci for destroying those 2 artillery and a high caliber for that 3,600 damage delta. Remember, TOG is also a premium tank, so even if you fire a lot of premium ammunition like me, I still made a 21,000 credit profit. And considering how good the penetration is, if you're not a gold noob like I was in this game, you can make reasonable amounts of credits, and when you're having this much fun, that is just a cherry on top. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for me today. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments down below, do you have a TOG? And if you have it, do you love it? And if you don't love it, then why do you hate it? And if you're watching this video as it's released on Monday, I'm going live all day on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby with brand new drops tokens. So come and get hopefully those final few to be able to get your Dickomax or your SU-85i. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.